Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking to watch my video. My name is Nay. As you can tell by today's title, we are going to be doing part 2 of my 3-part series on how to buy inventory on Alibaba. So today I'm going to be showing you how to reach out to the vendor, what you want to ask, everything you want to know from the vendor before you decide to finally place your order. So a little bit about me again. If you didn't watch part 1, the link will be in the description box. But basically, I'm a business owner. I am the owner of Her Lovely Shop. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Shop Her Lovely Shop, or our website herlovelyshop.com. I do buy some of my inventory overseas. So I wanted to share just some tips and tricks on how you can go about doing that, because I know a lot of people do struggle with buying inventory overseas, making sure the quality is good, making sure you're not like getting scammer vibes from the vendor, things like that. So that is what this 3-part series is about. Part 1 was basically how to search on Alibaba. Part 2 is going to be the questions to ask the vendors, how to reach out, everything you want to know from the vendor before you place your order. And part 3 will be how I'm going to show you, like, on the iPad physically, how to find products on Alibaba and then reach out to the vendor, basically how Alibaba works. So yes, if you are interested in business videos, lifestyle videos, make sure you give my channel a subscribe and like the video if you like the video at the end. Yes, so let's just get started. So like I said, this is going to be part 2. Part 1 was how to search and find a vendor. Part 2 is going to be how to reach out to the vendor that you found. So by now you should already have a couple of ideas of what you want to get. You should already know the color, size, logo, anything you want on your item, the budget that you plan to spend on your item. And now you should also have a couple ideas of who you want to reach out to, and now you're going to reach out to them. So number 1, I always say you definitely want to make sure that you know exactly what you want. Don't let these vendors trick you into getting something you don't want. Oftentimes, if they don't have what you want in that price, they'll offer you different things and different prices, and it might work out, but at the same time it might not, because you're just steering off of what you want completely. It's definitely happened to me before, so don't do that. You want to make sure you know all the colors you want, all the different sizes, the quantities. If you want to add a logo, you should have your logo ready. You should have a budget set out for how much you want to spend on your items, etc. You just want to make sure you know everything, you have it written down, and you know what you're doing. You know what you're trying to buy. Number 2, I think it's very important for you to prepare your questions ahead of time. You can keep them in a notes file on your phone. That way you can just copy and paste to send to multiple vendors, because you're going to be contacting more than one vendor. You're not going to talk to one vendor for one item. You want to make sure you have multiple vendors for the one item, just so that you have options. And you'll probably send them the same list of questions. So you just want to make sure it's saved somewhere, whether it's in your phone, in the notes section, in Google Docs, a Word document, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you have a list of questions set out so that you know exactly what you're going to ask. Okay, and then number 3, finally, the questions. You're going to want to ask a lot of questions. You're probably going to feel like you're annoying them, but that's okay, because you're the boss. You need to take control. You mean business. So you just want to make sure that you know what you're getting before it gets here, because you're getting it from overseas, probably from China, which means you're not really going to send it back. You don't really have intentions of sending it back if it's wrong. So you want to make sure everything is good before you place your order. So it's going to be a lot of questions. Make sure you have a notebook or something, because it's going to be a few questions that you're going to want to ask. So these are all the questions that I personally ask my vendors before I decide to go with them and place my order. the first question, and I always send this in like one note that way, because you are talking to them from overseas, so the time differences are different. So you might fall asleep and they'll see your question and they'll answer one question, and then you have to reply back in the morning and they're already sleeping. So you just want to make sure you say all your questions in one bubble, like in one chat, in one message. So again, these are the questions I ask. I definitely recommend asking them these questions. Of course, you can add other questions. It depends on what you're buying, you know? So these are like the general questions. The first question I ask is, what is your MOQ? MOQ means minimum order quantity. You want to make sure that that they can provide you with the amount that you would like to order. So a lot of their MOQs could be like 50 and you're only trying to buy like 25. So you just want to make sure they can work with your quantity that you're trying to buy. What are all the colors offered? You want to make sure that you know exactly what they're offering. What if there's a color that you didn't think of, but you were like, oh, I like that color. I think I'm going to go with that color instead of this color. Or just to make sure they're offering the exact shade of color, like maybe this shade of pink. You just want to make sure that they're offering the colors that you're looking for, or that you might be interested in. You want to ask them if they have a catalog, just because they could have other items that they sell that you're looking for. And it's better to work, if you can, it's better to work with one vendor over a lot of vendors. So if your one vendor can make your sweatsuits and your dresses, that would be nice, because then you don't have to go through multiple vendors. So just make sure you have them send you a catalog of everything that they sell. That way it's like a shopping mall, so that you know what they're selling. What is the material of the item that you're trying to purchase? This is really important for like clothes or maybe even lashes. You want to make sure you know exactly the material you're getting, or if you plan to print your own logo on things, you want to make sure that you know the material, because I know some prints don't work with 50-50 polyester cotton, or some prints do, you need full cotton, or you know what I mean. So you just want to make sure you know the materials of the items that you're buying. That also gives you insight on the quality, because if things are made of just polyester, it's probably not the best quality. If you're looking for something stretchy and it's just made of cotton, it's probably not the best idea. So yeah, you just want to make sure you know what the materials that the item is made out of. What sizes, again, just so that you know. If they offer the sizes that you're looking for, or even if they offer bigger or smaller sizes. You want to maybe ask for a size chart, just so that you know the different, or if the sizes match US sizes. For example, my sweatsuits, I ordered them all a size up, and I just call them a size lower, if that makes sense. So a small a medium from them is a small for me, because their sizes are a little bit different. So I just size them a little bit different, if that makes sense. Let's see. Can you add a custom logo? If so, how much would that be? Pretty self-explanatory. If you want a logo on your products that you're trying to buy, you want to make sure that they offer that. And you want to make sure you're asking how much it would be per item, because that goes into your costs, for like your total costs. Okay, how much would shipping cost to, and then you're just going to need like your zip code. You don't need to give them your full address. So how much would it cost for you to send this many items to this zip code? Because it is off of weight. So they should be able to give you an estimate. Say if you're trying to buy 10 pieces to Florida, you just give them the Florida zip code that you live at, or that you're shipping it to, and they can give you an estimate of how much shipping would cost. And then you also want to ask how long it would take for them to ship it. Also, how long would it take for them to process it or manufacture the item? That's important, because you want to make sure that you're not waiting months for your items. I think the longest I've waited is probably like 5 weeks, like 4 or 5 weeks for but it was something that was custom made. So yeah, it just depends on what you're ordering. It depends on how much you're ordering. It also depends on if you're ordering it from because they have different shipping. They have air shipping and ground shipping, so, or air shipping and sea shipping. So they can ship it by sea, which would be longer, or they could ship it by air, which would take a little bit less time. So you want to check their shipping rates and the times and their processing times. And then you want to ask them if they offer samples and how much it would cost. You definitely want to get a sample of everything that you buy for your inventory before you buy it. Samples could be expensive, so watch out for that. It's okay if it's like twice the amount of the actual product. It happens, it's just a sample. They have to make the product, when they make it in bulk, it's more worth it, I guess you would say, than if they just make one. So of course one sample is going to cost more than if you bought 20 items, well, more per item, if that makes sense. And you do have to pay for shipping on that, of course, too. So yes, and then you want to ask them, you also want to ask them if they directly make the product. So there are trading companies and there's manufacturers. That was my dryer. But manufacturers are the ones who actually make the product in their factory and then they ship it out to you. Trading companies, they get the product from somebody else, they send it to them, and then they send it to you. So you want to check if they're a manufacturer or trading company. I've worked with both. It just depends on what you're looking for, I guess. So trading companies are always good for things that you're just buying, like not customized, things that you're buying, what is it called, ready to ship. And then I want to give you, so those are all the questions that I ask my vendors, at least. Sometimes I ask different questions, like in between, of course, because after they answer these questions, you know, you're into like a conversation with them. So you want to make sure that you ask all the questions that you need to ask before you buy your product, because if your product comes, it's coming all the way from China, chances are you're not going to send it back, or Pakistan, or wherever you're getting it from. Chances are you're not going to want to send it back. They're going to have to offer you some kind of something else in return, because they're like, what is sending it back going to do? So yeah, you just want to make sure you have all your questions answered before you buy your product. So the last thing I want to touch on are just a few tips. These are things that you can follow, but you don't necessarily have to. Very important to check if your vendor includes these things, or just be wary, because you want to make sure that your vendor is not giving off scammer vibes, which a lot of them do. And you may think they do, but they are also just coming from another country. So what seems normal to them might not seem normal to you. But yes, these are some tips to watch out for, just to look to make sure that your vendor has. So number one, I would definitely check if they offer trade assurance. You can either ask them, or it'll be on like their page website on Alibaba. Trade assurance is basically when Alibaba steps in if there's any complications between the order, either you didn't get the order, or you received half of the order, or something was missing, anything like that. They will step in and mediate a solution between you and the vendor, which is always good because they offer you refunds, or partial refunds, or they can have the vendor send you a new product, anything like that. So you just want to make sure they have trade assurance, and you also want to make sure that they're verified. You'll know that they're verified if they have a blue check mark by, I think it's by their name on their website, or on their like page. So yeah. Okay, so I'd gotten a phone call, but where was I? So I already mentioned that you want to make sure that you want to check if they're a trading company or a manufacturer, you know, just depending on what exactly works for you, what you're buying, what your end goal is, everything like that. You want to make sure that they have reviews. So you can ask them to send you samples of work they've done. So say you're trying to add a logo onto like some lash boxes or something, you can ask them to send you like samples from other works that they've done with other brands, and they could send you some, they could not. The only reason why they wouldn't is because to protect the other brand's privacy, but most often they'll probably send you like some kind of sample or some kind of video just so you can check the quality. It's also very important to do that with clothes because you know, clothes are a whole nother thing. Like, you want to make sure it's going to fit right, the material is going to be right. Yeah, a lot of times they just have videos on their page with like mannequins, and that doesn't give you much. So like, you can ask them to send you a video of them like stretching it to make sure it's stretchy. You can ask them to send you a video with a logo on it. You can ask them to send you, say you're trying to get something embroidered, that's something you might want to check before you order it. So you can ask them to send you a picture or video of an example of an embroidery, things like that. And like I was saying to the reviews, they do have reviews on their page. So sometimes if they're too new, they won't have reviews, which is okay. It happens. You don't always get reviews. Yeah, but you want to make sure that they at least have like one or two, just because if it's a really good item, somebody will leave a review and say this is a really good item. So reviews is always important. Let's see. Oh yeah, always double check, triple check, quadruple check. Make sure that before you give them your money, that you have everything figured out. You have every single detail planned out. They know exactly what you want. You want to make sure that there's no questions. They shouldn't have to reach out to you for anything else. And if they do, make sure you answer them. But yes, make sure you have everything figured out before you place your order. Make sure you guys are in agreement with what color you want, about the price, about the amount, about the time frame. You don't want to place your order and then ask them how long is it going to get here, and then they reply and say 3 months, and you already gave them your money. They're not going to give it back. So yes, just make sure you always check to make sure your order is everything you expect it to be before you place your order. And again, it's okay to annoy them. You are the boss. It is your business, your products. You just want to make sure you're getting what you're getting, and they will understand that. All right, so that brings us to the end of the video. If you have any questions, leave them down below, or comments, or any other tips for anybody else for shopping on Alibaba. Again, part 1 is going to be linked in the description box. Part 1 was how you basically search up vendors and products before you message them, filters and all that stuff. I say a lot, but what else? Part 3 is going to be hopefully next week. I'm going to be showing you physically how like you look up the vendor and reach out, message them, how looking for clues and signs. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Probably do a screen recording on the iPad, and yeah, that should be out next week. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to my channel. You can follow my social medias. I'm really just on I'm really just on Instagram for right now. So my Instagram is going to be ohlovelynay. I'll put it right here. Again, Shop Her Lovely Shop is on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.